Hello again. How you are going to write a best-selling book. Session 8, and we're going to go deeper into the marketing aspects of how you create a bestseller. A lot of stuff behind the scenes that most people don't really realize. When they look on the to-do list and they say, I want to write a best-selling book, there are 100 little details that go beneath that item, how to write a best-selling book. And when they go to the bestseller lists and see the names and the pictures of the covers of all these amazing books that have been, marketed to hundreds of thousands of people, what is the rest of the story? I mean, if you were really to talk to that author and find out what he or she had to do in order to be publicly famous in that way as on top of a bestseller list, you'd find out that there was an enormous amount of work that went behind it. And it's worth it. I don't want to make it sound too hard, because when you're doing what you love to do, it's not hard. It's fun. It's just what you do. You get up in the morning and you move towards what you've always dreamt of doing. And for me, it was to teach people how to become successful in all areas of life. My books of talking about becoming financially independent, buying real estate, investing in the stock market, going on the internet, to all kinds of ways, multiple streams of income. So when I get up in the morning, I say to myself, what do I need to do to make my readers or my watchers, my listeners, what do I need to do to help them get closer to what they really want? So my job today is to help you get closer to the bestseller list. So you can say to anybody you talk to from now on, I'm a bestseller. I have a best-selling book. I am a best-selling author. Let's go a little deeper on that process today. How to write a best-selling book, session 8. As I've been teaching you, the checklist is for both of us. It's a checklist for my teaching, and it's a checklist for your doing. And as you write, it's essentially a checklist or a chapter list, table of contents for your book. Essentially, you're doing the same thing as I'm doing right here. Your table of contents is your checklist. It's the list of things that you want your reader to do in what order you want them to do it in order to achieve the result that you're trying to teach them how to do. So right now we're going into the funnel, and this is advanced stuff. This is stuff that very few people really know how to understand what the funnel really is. Remember, I showed you what the marketing layers are. To layer over top of your message words are marketing words or marketing layers. And at the very bottom of this list is the concept of the seeds. The seeds, what kind of seeds are you planting inside your book that will continue to take your reader to the next level? Most people think when they've read a book that that's all they need. Once they've read the book, then they're done. Well, that's not the way it works in life, is it? When you went to school, didn't you go through 12 grades of various different schooling sessions, and you learned deeper and deeper knowledge? When you went on to university, many of us did that. We went into the bachelor's degree, and that's 4 years of continuing education. Then a master's degree, and I have my master's degree in business. I did not take my doctor's degree. I wanted to get out and go into the world and make my way. But the point is, there's always deeper and deeper levels of knowledge as you learn any subject, anything you can think about. So your book is maybe it's the high school level, or maybe even the bachelor's degree level when it comes to the information that you're going to share, but there's more to learn. And therefore, a reader should be informed that there are other steps to take. If you're into the bachelor's degree, then there is a master's degree, and there is a PhD level. And do you want to go there? And many people want to go there, and many people don't. They've learned what they need to learn. They read your book. That's all they wanted to know. So for them, 90% of the people, they stop right there. But 10% of the people, they want more. They're fascinated. They're interested. They want the result that you are trying to tell them that they can achieve. And they are addicted to learning. And most people are not addicted to learning. The average person never picks up another book after they finish high school for the entire rest of their life. Well, I don't think that's you, and certainly not me. I'm reading right now. I have on my nightstand 3 books that I'm reading, and I'm finishing them all at various different levels. I'm reading a book about Beethoven. I'm reading a book about William Shakespeare, and I'm reading a book about Ramses II in Egypt. I want to read the lives of great people, and I'm just constantly reading and learning and studying, and that's what I do. I don't know about you, but more than likely you're addicted to knowledge just like I am. And if you are, then when you share this knowledge with other people, you've got to realize that they are going to want to know what the next level is. And will you be leading that next level? And if so, you're planting seeds throughout your message words. You're letting people know that there is another level of information that they could learn if they want to. Most people will just pass right over top of the hints that you're placing throughout your message words, the hints that you have another level of information that you could take them to. But 10% of them are going to go, hey, I want that. I want more, right? So throughout the book Idea to Income, which you should have had we should have a copy of now. It's in the back office of the How to Write a Best-Selling Book offer. Other things are placed there for you to study and learn. This is a book I want you to read, and read with your marketing eyes, and notice the layers of marketing that I placed throughout this book. And they are what I call seeds, or basically it's leading them into a funnel. So as I look at the book itself, and I'm looking at the way this book is laid out, you'll notice at the very end of one of the chapters, it says, in our Idea to Income Masterclass, we work with students on a live Zoom call to identify their pieces of cake and to select from those the perfect low-hanging fruit for their first book. There's no link there to say, if you want to learn more about it, click on this link. It's just a statement that there is more information. For some people have taken advantage of this extra information. And throughout, there's another session at the end of one of the chapters. When we work together, you'll notice that it's an assumptive close. I'm assuming when we work together, we'll help you craft a bold promise that will set you apart. We'll reverse engineer your promise so that your book actually delivers on your bold promise. What is the bold promise we make with every one of my Idea to Income students? Your book is done. It hits number 1. You make a ton. Isn't that fun? So that's my promise, basically, as I said right now. Onward to step number 4. Once again, I don't go into any more detail than just planting the seed. And some people who are not interested, they skip right over top of it. It doesn't refer to me. I'm not interested in that. Take me to the next chapter. And so I do. And at the end of another chapter in our Idea to Income Masterclass, we work with students on a live Zoom call to identify their pieces of cake and to select from those the perfect, I think I already referred to that one. Here's another one. During Idea Income Masterclass, we'll work together to create and design your own map using my proprietary mapping system. If you're doing this on your own, we strongly recommend that before you write a single word of your book, complete your map. Now, I've taught you that already. But when you read through this version of the information marketing content, you'll find that the written version contains lots of hints like this. It's not pushy, it's not overwhelming, it just lets them know there's something else if they want. I don't know if you've visited one of our consultants yet. Now I'm saying, hey, if you probably should visit with one of our consultants and have them guide you whether this is a decision you'd like to make or not. And once again, it's a hint, it's a seed that we place. And at the very end, the last page of the book, and if you have the book, you'll read it, you'll see it here. And when you click on the link, it takes you to all the gifts that we give away. But there are the seeds that have been planted. This may be your last chance. Click on the link if you're ready to get started, Idea to Income Masterclass. Now, over on the right-hand page, there is the Idea to Income Masterclass with Robert Allen and Nick Coates. That was a live class taught with real live people on their real projects. And you can see how they went from not knowing much about it, creating pretty bad beginning ideas at the first and how we honed and refined those ideas so they became much more polished. And so when you click on that link, it takes you to all the gifts and places where you can go deeper on the learning if you want to. And so, I would recommend that you download all of these things. You don't have to buy anything. And you don't have to visit with our consultants. You don't have to check out our deeper site on it. As a matter of fact, it's dramatically less expensive when you watch the recorded version of what we did. But the point is, I want you to learn what I'm doing by reading one of my clickbait books. This is a shorter version of a major book that will be coming later on this year. Yeah, I'm going to write a major book on this. It's going to be published and distributed to all major bookstores. But in the meantime, I need to build a database. And this database will be filled with thousands and thousands of people and with ongoing building until eventually I can go to a publisher and say to the publisher, I have a platform now, let's publish it. So deeper knowledge would be from the free strategy session. And this is what it looks like when you click on it. Startup cash, banking, all the side hustles, not talking about the side hustles, but the side hassles of all the things you do in order to create a side hustle. There's just lots of details. It's nice to have somebody who coaches and guides you through that process. And then finally, how do you join it? You click on that link and it tells you what page it's on in the book, and it takes you to this. And here's Nick and I pictured talking about the message words, which is my specialty, and the marketing words, which are Nick's specialty. And here's another link. When you click on that link, it takes you to the masterclass. This is Nick teaching. And then there's a video from Nick and myself as we kind of take people deeper. Now, there doesn't need to be any personal interaction between me and anybody, because the funnel is done without a lot of personal selling. People watch, they decide, I like this, they want more of it. They say, how do I get more? And I don't want there to be a lot of moving parts in your funnel. So you want to invite people to read your book, go a little bit deeper, check it out, watch a video or two, let them know that they want to go further. You take their credit card and off they go. So these 20 sessions of the Idea to Income Masterclass, people paid $2,000 for that. Some people paid $3,000 for that program. They received a lot of personal coaching, a lot of personal ideas. There was a Idea to Income Facebook page where people could come in and network with each other. We gave them what I call account buddies, where every day they had to communicate with one person to tell them whether they gathered any names that day or they wrote any words that day, because those are the two fundamentals of this process. And obviously, since now it's been recorded, it now can be available for a dramatically lower price because there's not a lot of live interaction. If somebody wanted live interaction, if they wanted to be part of a group coaching session, price would be much higher. It'd be live. If they wanted to have a one-on-one coach, it would be more expensive. If they wanted to be coached one-on-one by me, that'd be dramatically more expensive, probably too expensive for most people. But the bottom line is for you to look over the shoulders as Nick and I coach a group of real people to help them accomplish their real best-selling book title and help them on the marketing of their programs. Well, then you can watch over the shoulder for a much, much lower price. $195. By the time you see this, who knows what the price might be? It might be $295 or $395. Our first test price will be $195. So what I've just demonstrated and talked to you about is how to plant seeds or hints to introduce your funnel. Now, when you plant a seed, you'll notice that I didn't talk about funnels as people were reading through the Idea to Income book. Your reader doesn't need to know how your funnel looks. They just need to know there's probably something more for those who are really, really interested. So what is a funnel? It's behind the scenes. Every information marketer has a funnel. They may call it different names. They might call it the ascension ladder, but a funnel is the way I like to talk about it. And I remember in the stupid mistakes we talked about in the very first session, don't write a single word until you plan your funnel. In other words, as you're writing your message words, you need to know what the next item you're going to introduce to your reader as part of the marketing words. Remember, the seeds that we just talked about are marketing words. They let people know there's more if they want it. And so your job is to at least know what the next probable thing that you would be offering to your reader. And you might say, well, I'm not an information marketer. I just want to write a book, Bob. Well, do you want a best-selling book or don't you? If you just want to write a book, fine, go write it. If you want to write a book that changes your narrow niche of the world, well, then it's going to require you to do some things like this, because the items that are sold to a reader of your book, since the book is such a powerful marketing tool, is powerful. Just think about it. The book that they just finished reading, they know you better. They understand your knowledge. They might be inspired by your knowledge to want to know deeper information about it. They'd like to work more closely with you. Maybe they'd like to know you, meet you, be coached by you, at least have an autographed book from you. In other words, as the reader reads, 10% of those people, they want more. And so what are you going to offer them? So let's just create a very basic thing. Maybe you say throughout the book, your book, and maybe since my books talk about money and writing best-selling books and things like that, maybe yours about health. And you might say, if you'd like to know my latest research on the cutting-edge nutrients that you need to add to your body to give yourself the health and the strength and the vitality that you need, you can sign up for my newsletter. And from time to time, I'll send you powerful information that can change your life. Newsletter might cost a little bit extra. It could be free. And therefore, if it's free, you'll be communicating with them on a regular basis. So at least you plant that hint throughout your book. Yeah, there's the newsletter you could get. You certainly would want it because you give them the advantages of why they'd want that. Some of you might want to join me on my live Zoom call every week. And of course, as you read through the information that got you to this spot, you might have heard about a call that I do every Thursday called this Successful People, where I go deeper on the concepts that you're learning about here on this call right here. So Successful People on Zoom every Thursday at 3 p.m. Mountain Time, 2 p.m. Pacific Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Coast Time. It's a live session that I do, and it's offered for free. Why? Well, it's a place that I get to practice a lot of my brand new ideas, to tell you the truth, and then I get to go deeper on some of the concepts that people are interested in learning. And therefore, my newsletter, remember, I told you I'm a speaker who writes, not a writer who speaks. If I was a writer who speaks, then I'd write a newsletter. I'd write a blog. That's not my style. I like to write and I'm good at writing, but it's not my piece of cake. It's not something that drives me, where I've got to see my words written down. When I write a book, it's usually into a focused session, like where I wrote Idea to Income. It took me 8 weeks. It was writing almost every single day. It had a deadline to it, like I shared with you, the success cycle I shared with you a couple of sessions ago. And then I like to talk. That's my specialty. So every week I talk on my free class. I don't know about you, but you need to find something that's fun and easy for you to do, effortless. You know, we can start a Zoom call right now, and I can teach for an hour without looking at any notes, because of my past experience. I've got so much information to draw from, and it's so easy for me. It's my piece of cake. It's not hard for me. I don't have to plan it out. I don't have to lay out my outline and practice. And no, it's a little rough, but that's the way my viewers like it. They like Bob rough and fresh and off the top of my head. And usually when I get to the end of one of those sessions, I'm speaking stuff that's coming out off the top of my head. I don't know where it's coming from. But that's what I do as a speaker, as a teacher. So you have to fit who you are with your funnel, with the seeds you're planting. What do you want them to know more in a way that is natural and effortless for you to do. So you actually look forward to it. That you could do it at a drop of a hat, right? Pick something like that. That's part of your funnel. And that's the seeds that you're planting when it comes to your funnel, right? So let's go. What is a funnel? It's a visual way of brainstorming your various information products. So we're brainstorming with you right now. What do you think you might offer after a person has read your book? Very important for you to know that, isn't it? Very important for you to kind of have an idea what that might be. Don't you think it'd be important as you're writing your book that from time to time you'd be inspired to plant a hint of what that next step might be for your reader? Maybe it's a visual course that you created about your the content of your book. Maybe as you were preparing for the writing of your book, you actually did a webinar in advance of it. And since you had your outline laid out and you knew what the steps would be for a person to take, then maybe you invited some of your friends to watch a Zoom call that you recorded. Maybe you sell it. Maybe it's $100 or $200 or $500. And maybe it's a small group. Maybe there's only 10 people there. Like my beginning seminar in the hotel across the street from BYU where I went to school. That was how I got started. Now back then, I didn't realize that I could have recorded it. I could have videoed it. And I could have made those classes with those live people in those classes who paid $75 for a 4-week class. Why didn't I record that? At least audio record it. I could have put an audio recorder right there on the table. And wouldn't have people have liked to know what I had taught? Wouldn't it have been nice to know that? So rather than $75 for a 4-week class, I could have recorded all 4 weeks and sold the recording for $29, $19, and gave them the audio of it. Or I could have gone to the next level, which was creating a video course and having a video camera there, a recording as I was teaching live, and maybe instead of $75, I charge them $49 for the video course. Or maybe it's worth more. Maybe it's $100 or $200 for the video course. What I'm trying to say is that once you are teaching, you need to be recording whatever you teach because that becomes a product. So as you teach and you record it, you make it available to people to buy if they want to. Just like our Idea to Income course was $2,000, and now we market it for $200, which is 90% less. Why? Because it doesn't require our time. I don't have to be there every Wednesday night the way we did it originally. Every Wednesday night for 2 hours, I was there emailing back and forth with people, answering their questions about that. It took a lot of time. Therefore, it was much more expensive. Same thing with you. You record your teaching and you make it a product. And maybe as they're reading through your book, you go, by the way, I recorded a 6-series session on how to create the best health, or how to create the best relationships, or how to create the best kind of positive mindset, or how to overcome fear, or whatever your subject happens to be. You recorded something. You might have charged money for it. It might have been free, but now the recorded version is a course you put up online at places like teachable.com, and you upload your video and your audio and any kind of supplementary materials that go with it, books and manuals and things like that. You just upload it to one of the various many different places where you can download a course, and then you put that on your website. And when you go to robertallen.com, you'll see my courses are available on my website. Therefore, anybody who comes to that website, a few people are going to click, they're going to like, they're going to buy. It happens 24 hours a day. In other words, you're an information marketer. So your funnel talks about the many ways that you're going to generate revenue from your information. And there are probably 1,200 ways, but these are the main 12. Maybe a seminar or webinar that you've already recorded that you introduce somebody to as they read through your book. An online course, a mastermind where you gather like-minded people and charge them a fee for being the host of a mastermind. One-on-one coaching or group coaching where you're marketing on Zoom You're getting 20 people on Zoom together. You charge them a fee of 100, let's say $100. 20 people times $100 is $2,000. And you have a coaching session. How long? Maybe it's weekly. Maybe it's for a month, 2 months, 3 months. All of this is, I'm just throwing ideas. I'm trying to stretch your thinking. I need you to decide what is the next step for the reader of your book, and make sure you plant seeds. The book, you'll notice, is the 5th thing on the list here. My book was not the first thing I did. I did coaching with people. I did my seminar with people, that 4-week seminar I told you about. There were a lot of things that I did before the book was finished. 2 years later, after I figured out how I cracked the code on the title of my book and the content of my book, it took me 2 years to get the book finished. In the meantime, every week I was teaching different classes and learning more and becoming more expert in how to share that message. So you may do the same thing. Some of you might be public speakers. You might consult with people. Maybe you're a weight loss expert. So you could give them your free book. You want to lose some weight? You have a high school reunion coming up in 6 weeks, and you need to lose 20 pounds as if your life depended on it. Read this book. The book will say, oh, by the way, if you want somebody who will watch over you every single hour of every single day for the next 6 weeks to guarantee that you'd lose 20 pounds, guess what? That's one-on-one coaching. How much is that worth? Oh, that's got to be worth thousands, really. If it's really important for them to lose the weight and they really need help and they need someone to watch over them and to guide them and come to their house and clean out their fridge, do that kind of real personal stuff, much more expensive. That's consulting and coaching. And then you're moving into joint ventures and affiliates and sponsorships. And it's just so many ways for you to share your information. Just the easy, simple ways I'm going to share with you today. In Multiple Streams of Income, one of the major chapters is called Infopreneuring. How to turn a tiny classified ad into a fortune. You see this book was written in the year 2000. So it's been updated since, but this comes from the 2000 edition. Classified ads, we don't even do classified ads anymore. It's got to be a Facebook ad is what it's got to be. How to turn a tiny Facebook ad into a fortune. And I describe into this chapter, and this chapter is included in the list of things you can read in your back office, the supplementary material for how to write a best-selling book. This chapter will be there for you to read if you want to. And this is a graph right from the book itself. Ways to generate leads. And along the top, you can see there are print ways and audio ways and video ways and telephone ways, digital ways, live ways. And then as you go deeper into a funnel, this funnel is pretty complicated for an ordinary beginner. And they go look at this, oh my gosh, I don't think I could ever do that. Well, neither did I. I didn't create this funnel until 20 years into my career, where I went back and looked at my career and realized that I was been doing a funnel unconsciously. I was bringing people into my world free, have a free seminar. People came to a free 90-minute seminar. And they sat through the seminar, 95% of them, 90% of them left and never bought anything. They went to a bookstore and they bought my book. 10% of them, 12% of them sometimes, spent $500 for a 2-day seminar. So that was my funnel. And then a few of those people who went to the seminar, the $500 seminar, said, I want more. I want more coaching, more guidance, more information. Give me a one-on-one coach, or put me in a group session where we're coaching. See, it's just a natural evolution of you becoming a teacher of your content. And the book is just one piece of it. So for me, how I got started, as I just explained to you, I started in my hometown, Provo, Utah, having graduated with my MBA and realizing that it was a terrible recession and I needed to buy real estate. That was my dream, my passion. So I started to buy real estate in my hometown. And that took me within 4 years, 3-4 years, to $1 million net worth. I went from no job, no income, $1,000 to my name, to $1 million net worth in just a few short years. Then I started teaching it and I started writing books about it. And as I started buying real estate, I realized that my real estate was highly leveraged, so I needed some extra cash flow every single month. It wasn't enough for me to live on. So I said, what could I do to generate a little extra money? And so this is the hotel, the Royal Inn in Provo, Utah, where I began my first 4-week class, right here. Wow. As I look at that place, I realize I rented one of the rooms in that motel. Not a conference room, but one of the rooms, the hotel rooms with a bed in it. And I put a table inside, and 10 of us sat inside that room, and I taught how to buy real estate with little or no money down. Now, that led eventually, as I said earlier, to the books. But in the meantime, I said, I wonder if I could teach, rather than every Thursday night for 4 weeks and a $75 fee, I wonder if I could charge $100 and do it on a Saturday. So with a little extra marketing, a few months later, after running little ads in my local newspaper, there were 100 people sitting in this hotel, 100 people jammed into a conference room who each had paid $100 to be there for the entire day. And $100 is not much. Even in 1978, it wasn't that much money. 1979 wasn't that much money. But 100 people times $100 is $10,000 for 1 day of my time. And I was shocked. I was stunned that there was that kind of money when people paid a little money themselves, but I could put 100 people in the room and make $10,000 in 1 day. I made it into a 2-day seminar and charged them twice as much, $200. 100 people come, as $20,000 for a weekend. That's big money. What if we went to Los Angeles and ran a full-page ad? And by this time, I was running full-page ads in Los Angeles Times. I can't even remember how much it cost, $20,000, $30,000. I can't remember. All I can remember is there are, in 4 nights of free previews, there had been maybe 500 people that sat through my preview, and 10, 20% of them had spent $500 to come to my seminar. Well, 200 people times $500, do the math. Is that $10,000? No. 200 people times $500 is $100,000. Big money. Big money. For 1 weekend, it's worth the risk. Yeah, I had to pay my expenses for the hotel and for my travel, flying, for the ad in the newspaper, for the staff, the team. Yeah, there's a lot of expenses that went into it, but there was a nice profit left over. And I said to myself, I can do this all across the country. How many cities are there? There are 100 cities I could do this in. And I don't have that many weekends. I need to hire people to come, to replace me so I could grow the business. And then I got called by my competitor, who said, we've been working for your competitor. And we were sent to look at our competitors, and we saw you. And we've been having some disagreements with our competitor, with your competitor, our boss. And we realized that you're the next thing, You're the next Beethoven. You're new, you're fresh. This is the new wave. And we'd like to license your information. And you don't have to teach it. We'll hire the people, we'll do all the marketing, we'll teach all the classes, we'll send you a royalty check. That's called licensing. And every single week around the United States for the next 6 years, they sent me a royalty check. Sometimes it was $25,000 every Tuesday, sometimes $50,000 every Tuesday. Millions of dollars later, when they finally went out of business because the economy changed, the tax rules changed, people weren't interested in real estate during that dip in time, a company went out of business. But during that time, I made millions of dollars and never taught more than 1,000 of the 100,000 people who went to my class. Now, the reason I'm sharing you this with you, I didn't plan any of that. I didn't lay down and strategize exactly how I was going to grow this. I just went to another city. I ran some ads to see how many people would show up. And it turns out that the person I needed to show up took me famous, made me famous in the United States, created infomercials at the very time when there never were any infomercials, and they cracked the code on how to do it. Sometimes they ran an infomercial in Chicago, and there were so many people coming to my seminar that it blocked traffic going to O'Hare Airport because there were hundreds and hundreds of people coming. So what I'm trying to say is all of this was kind of evolved. Now I'm telling you that your information is going to evolve in the same way. I just never realized how profitable it could be. And it turned out to be much more profitable than real estate. I still did real estate, but I like to teach and I like to transform people's lives. And as I've always said, I'd rather fix up a human being than a piece of real estate any day. And that's what my seminars do. They transform people. And fixing up the real estate got really boring to me. It really wasn't important to me because the cash flow was nice, and it took me to financial freedom. There's no doubt about that. But it took me to where I could teach, and it gave me the freedom to do what I'm doing with you right now, which I have been doing now for the last 42 years. That's just what I do. So I've made lots of money in real estate, and I made lots of money in various different businesses. I made lots of money on the internet, but where I've made the most amount of money in my career is what I call infopreneuring. And it's 1,000 times more powerful than the real estate itself. And if it's your natural purpose in life, this is what I do. This is who I am. When I talk to you, this is me. This is something I enjoy doing. I'm happy to record this now so that it can now be seen by thousands of other people for as long as I live, and much, much longer than that, because this is just who I am. What I want you to discover is, who are you? What do you love to do? What's important to you? What is your talents? What are your gifts? What is it important for you to do? This is what I call purpose. Just 4 simple questions. What do you love to do? It's called passion. What's important to you? It's called values. What are your talents? It's what are your gifts? What are you good at? And then what's your destiny? What were you put on this planet to do? I'm doing what I was put here to do. In addition to lots of other things that I do, of course. But for you, I'm asking you this question. When you're an author, when you're a speaker, when you're a teacher, when you're an infopreneur, if it's in alignment with who you are, then it's not work. It's what you love to do. You can hardly wait to do it. And if it's work, it means you're not really all that interested. You're just trying to make a buck. For me, I'm not interested only in making a buck. Of course, that's important, but more important that you watch this. That's important to me. So this session talks about this funnel I'm wanting you to create. And it's not just a money funnel. It's the fact that you're going to be taking people deeper and deeper into action, into doing what they need to do in order to succeed. So for me, it was big time, big money, huge money. How much money? Well, I took a chance the other day to analyze the seminars that I've offered. And remember, the numbers I'm going to show you are gross numbers. The net can sometimes be only 5%, sometimes 1%, sometimes 10%. So the gross dollars are how much gross revenue has been generated marketing my name and my information for the last, well, for my entire life. And eventually you'll do a similar kind of summary on the gross revenue was generated from your books and seminars and Zoominars, etc. Obviously, I've sold at least 5 million books with an average price of $200. That's $100 million. Whoa. when you add it up over a long period of time, you can see how getting to 1 billion is not as difficult as you might think. But it took me 40 years to get here. Okay, 100,000 nothing down seminars. This was in the very beginning of my career, where I was licensed, and they taught 100,000 people at $500. That's $50 million. Now, I didn't earn all of that. I earned 10.3%. That was my royalty for not doing any work, for creating a system that was so powerful that somebody else could market it if I wasn't there, right? Then we taught seminars. After my licensee went out of business, I went into the seminar business myself with my partner, Tom Painter. We taught 20,000 protege students at $5,000 a piece. What does that multiply out to? $100 million. Now, this maybe 10% of that is net, and which I have to share with various different partners. So what I'm trying to say is I'm not a billionaire by any stretch of the imagination, but my name has generated $1 billion. We taught mastery trainings deeper into the funnel, $30,000, where people wanted to learn deeper and more intense and live and all kinds of coaching. That's $300 million. It took decades to get that to happen. Then I licensed to another company, the Robert Allen Institute, and they taught seminars all around the United States, at least 10,000 students at $3,000 a piece. And I'm not including the deeper trainings that they had, $300 million. I licensed another company called Prosper to coach one-on-one, my content with one-on-one coaching. And those classes would be, 10 sessions for $5,000, 20 sessions for $10,000, 30 sessions, $15,000. They generated $50 million, probably more than that, frankly. These things were done without my presence. I never coached a single person. But this revenue was generated, and about 5% of that revenue came to me and my partner, and we split that. But my name was being promoted, and that gave my other seminars more advertising, and my books were able to be sold as a result of that. Then I've done speaking and consulting around the world for at least $50 million in speaking fees and other trainings that I marketed in Singapore, Kuala Lumpur, Japan, Taiwan, Australia, Italy, Canada, Russia, Kazakhstan. The world is a beautiful place, right? And then sponsorships and endorsements. Well, people use my name to market their products. As you see an endorsement for any product where they'll have famous people come on and say, I had this pain for my entire life, and I took this product, and my pain is gone. I've got to tell you about it. Guess what? That endorsement was very expensive. And that fee, those kinds of fees have come to me as other products have been marketed as a result of my fame. So that's a snapshot of what $1 billion looks like, and that's basically my funnel, right? So this concept of a money tree is something I want you to drive into your home, into your mind. I want you to grow a money tree with lots of different fruit on it. Fruit from all the different information products that you're going to market. And this is your money tree. And once the fruit falls off, it grows another batch of fruit in the next season. So every expert has a funnel. Anytime you receive an email solicitation from somebody who's trying to market you information, you got to ask yourself, what's their funnel? What does it look like? A good friend of mine shared some of his funnel with me the other day. Remember the funnel that looks like this? In print, you're going to reach out and you're going to find people who are, as they say in marketing, going to raise their hands for some free information that you're offering, whether it's in print or in audio, video, on your phone, digitally, online, live. However you find the net, you're going to cast a net, and you're going to find some fish in that net who are interested in what you're trying to market. So this first free stuff is called raw data, and free will be all kinds of free stuff, free books, free webinars, free Zoominars, free reports, free articles. This is deeper and or more organized into knowledge. And so you have tapes and CDs and videos and books and DVDs. The price point on that's going to be much less, maybe up to $50 or $100. Then you're going to go into multimedia, manuals and newsletters and seminars and tape sets and audio sets and video courses and things like that, up to maybe $500. And then it'll be more interactive, where a person's saying, you know, talk to me personally, interactive. Training, home study courses, maybe up to $1,000. And then it becomes personalized, you know, personal coaching, whether you're group coaching or whether you're individual one-on-one coaching, price goes up, you know. The deeper in the funnel, the higher the price, because the more intense it becomes in the coaching one-on-one with somebody. And finally, there's intensive trainings at the very bottom, could be up to $25,000. Now, every different type of knowledge has different price points. So maybe the health arena wouldn't be this, it would be different than this. But I'm trying to share with you what a funnel looks like. And then you're going to ask yourself the question, what's my funnel going to look like? So you're going to do some research. You're going to reach out, find people that you respect and admire, and you're going to ask them about their funnel. What does it look like? The deeper in the funnel, the more experiential it gets, right? So do some competitive research. Who's killing it out there? Who do you see all over the place? You know why? Because they figured out their marketing. And therefore you need to go whoever your competitor is in your niche and sign up. Now, a good friend of mine, Joe Vitale, was in The Secret, the video 10, 15 years ago. The Secret was very, very popular. But ever since that, since he was able to say I was in The Secret, he has his website. So you go to his website, joevitale.com, and guess what he's going to ask you when you go to his website? He's going to say, let me send you some clickbait. Let me send you some information for you to study. And you give your name and your email there. It's a very, very wonderful site, very simple, zero limits. Allow Dr. Joe Vitale to help you discover your hidden wealth and live the life of your dreams. This site is just about gathering information and building a database. Now, he has another site that's called Attract Money Now, and it looks slightly different, but it's the same kind of concept. Give your first name and your email address, your country code, your phone number, and I'll teach you this 7-step formula, how to attract money now. And there's a video for you to watch. See, every information expert has funnels like this. This is Dr. Fire, his website, drfire.com. And once again, very similar. All these sites lead to these sites from articles he's posted online, and people would read the article for free and find out there's more to learn. Go to this website, get this free information. This is the Miracle 6 Steps to Enlightenment. So you start your Joe Vitale Life Mastery 10-Day Personal Revolution today. Start it. It's free. And off you go. Now, I've not taken this course, to tell you the truth, but I talked to Joe and I said, share with me your funnel. What does it look like? And of course, he has along the top the same kind of funnel you're going to create. JoeVitale.com is one way that leads into books and blogs and articles that are free. Attract Money Now, blog at MrFire.com, and online articles. All of this work generates leads. These free products generate low ticket items, medium ticket items, high ticket items. He has his catalog offerings, 150 secrets to attracting money. It's a $150 program. So if you want that program, you have to pay a little bit more money, right? He has coaching leads. Now he takes the leads that flow from his funnel here and he passes them to a company that markets the coaching program that he shows up live several times a month, but he also has one-on-one coaches that are hired to work with people individually to accomplish this goal. What I'm going to challenge you to do is to think through your funnel like this and ask yourself, what's it going to look like for me? And find 3 top competitors and get on their database and notice what emails show up and what are they selling? How are they doing it? You know, in other words, you've got to find out who's killing it, as I way to describe it, who is just knocking it out of the park, and find out how they're doing it by watching them as they try to market you. And then learn from that and adopt the same patterns in how you market to other people. So what does your fortune funnel look like? Let's create one. Now, once again, I'm going to say to you beginners out there who are saying, this is just too much information, Bob. I really don't see myself as an information marketer, as a teacher, or as a promoter like you are, or like Joe is, or like these other, Tony Robbins and all the other experts that are out there. Just start small. Just teach a little class. See whether it suits you. Offer it for free. If you're afraid to sell, then give it away. At the end of the free session, just say, I was just curious. Would anybody like me to be a one-on-one coach for you? If you are, send me an email, and you put your email there. And they email you and they say, yeah, I'm interested. Call them on the phone and say, what would it be worth to you to have me coach you one-on-one? What would it be worth to you? And they'll name a number. And if it's too low of a number, if it's a number that you would never do it for that, it's just too low, you go, I'm sorry, that just doesn't work for me. It's going to cost 2 or 3 times that. But I can make a payment plan for you. And now you're talking to a live person. Maybe you've never done this before, but you'll grow into it, is what I'm trying to teach you. What I'm showing you now are funnels that have been created after years of testing. And I'm not expecting you to go there immediately. If you wanted to write a best-selling book, you're going to have to do some of this kind of stuff. Why? Because you need more money to help promote your book. The things you offer deeper in your funnel will give you enough money to continue to run your Facebook ads, right? So now you're building a bigger list. So don't think of your book as just a book. Your book is a business. Your book is a lead generating machine. The purpose of your book is to generate a database. If you don't have a database, you don't have the kind of book you need if you want a bestseller, right? So here is your blank. Now you can draw this out on a blank piece of paper in front of you right now. Draw 4 lines at the top for how you're going to generate leads. What will be your free product? What will be your low ticket item? What will be your medium ticket item? What will be your high ticket item? You're going to design this funnel, maybe not even knowing what you're doing, because I can guarantee you this funnel will not survive. It will have to be adapted and refixed over and over again as different things work and some things don't work. You'll find that the second item doesn't sell. So you have to find another second item. And so you'll be replacing this. But at the very beginning, before your book is done, you can have word of mouth. You can have your own database, this database you're building. You can have social media where you can attract people to come get your free book. And you can run Facebook ads. There are free things you can do and paid things you can do. What will you give away? I've just created what I would do if I were you. But remember, it may not fit who you are, but I would give away a report, free report or a free ebook, or maybe a free Zoominar where you're coaching live with people for free. That leads people to maybe an ongoing class where you're charged free all the way up to $100 or more, and then you record it, because on Zoom, you record it. And if you pay the higher fee for Zoom, you can even have it transcribed. So you can take the transcription, clean it up a little bit and put it out as your blog. And therefore, there's your blog. There are all the words that people like to read. And now it's recorded. It's a class. It's a course. So you put that up online and you charge $100, maybe to $1,000 or more. And then you have maybe a mastermind where you bring people who are like-minded together, charge them a fee. And maybe there's one-on-one coaching that you do. Now, I personally don't like one-on-one coaching. That's why I hired a company, and so did Joe, to do the one-on-one coaching using your curriculum. with a hired trained coach to guide person through one-on-one. And therefore, the reason I don't like one-on-one coaching is because it requires me to be there. I have to be there to coach with a person one-on-one, or even a group coaching session like we did with Idea to Income. That was group coaching. And therefore we taught, dozens of people at one time. But one-on-one coaching, man, some people love it though. The coaching industry is a huge industry, and maybe that's where you're going to go. If you want to be a one-on-one coach, you need a free book to give away to bring them into your funnel. Does that make sense? Now, when we were brainstorming, my son and I, Aaron, were brainstorming what are some products we could market online. So we spent an entire day brainstorming 3 types of products we could sell. There'd be success seekers would want something about habits. How do you create a positive habit, right? So the brainstorming I'm sharing with you, this is real. This is what we really did. What is the problem that these habit seekers are looking to solve? Your habits aren't working, confused about which routine to set up, why habits fail, dreams of success but can't establish a routine. In other words, we brainstormed, what do we think a person Googling right now, how would we find them? What kind of ad would we run on Facebook that would attract them into what I call the habit funnel? The money funnel, which is my specialty. Wealth seekers are, what kind of Facebook ad would I run to attract a wealth seeker? Not making enough money. Remember, we wrote down the problems here. Dream to be rich. You got financial pressures, not enough done. You need to earn more. Are you afraid to risk? You can't get started. So that would be a Facebook ad we would run, and it would attract people into an advertisement we would do. So the ad would be the $1 million to-do list, or maybe it's emergency money, or make more money now, or fix your money, fix your life. This would be the Facebook ad. And that would attract people into a free PDF talking about the 3 most important lessons that I learned on the road to financial freedom, how I accomplished it. And let me give you a free report about that. And that would lead them into a deeper part of the funnel, the instant $1 million to-do list, which is say $37. And then as they go deeper into the funnel, the 7-figure success cycle, which I taught you the other day. And then finally, we didn't have a $997 price point, but we did have coaching, which was $10,000, what we call the $1 Million Done Club. All this was brainstorming. We also brainstormed people who were control seekers, getting more done fast, and what is the problem that got them there? What does the funnel look like? You can study that later. What I'm trying to show you is this is the brainstorming that went into these funnels. I'm not doing any of these funnels today, but we had to start somewhere. Then it took an entire day to brainstorm this. Now we're marketing my book, The 4 Maps of Happy, Successful People. And the secret word is procrastination. That seems to attract people. And we finally discover it. And now we've got a funnel, and people who come through our funnel are introduced to more and more higher levels of information. If you have a team, you're going to brainstorm something like this. If you're all by yourself, you're going to brainstorm something like this. And eventually it will become real, and the funnel will be real. And it's worth the trouble to crack this code, my friends. It's just worth the trouble. You want to do it. I just look back over my life and the magnificent life I've been able to lead because of the extra income I've been able to earn for myself and my family, the places I took my family all over the world. We just got back before COVID-19, a while ago in October. I took my family on a speaking tour. I was paid to speak on a cruise, and 20 people from Japan came, each paid $5,000 to be there. I got paid a huge speaking fee. I brought my family with me. We went on the cruise together. We went to Thailand. We went to Cambodia. We went to Angkor Wat, the magnificent ruin from the 13th and 14th century. The memories we created are just unbelievable. It's the lifestyle you want, right? So in my speaking career, this is Washington, D.C. I'll never forget that event. This was speaking in Los Angeles to 20,000 people. Donald Trump spoke at the same event that I spoke at there with thousands of people in attendance. As I'm speaking from stage, this is the audience I see in Singapore. Now, some of you may not be speakers. Maybe you don't want to speak. But for me, it just became natural. And eventually people asked me to speak, and eventually I learned how and had learned how the marketing parts of it. This is a seminar I taught in Kuala Lumpur. I bought t-shirts for everybody. It was a profound experience, and I transformed dozens of people's lives that day. Speaking to 8,000 people in London. Tony Robbins went on just before I did. Let me give you a little hint. Don't let him go on before you. But we did okay. We marketed some information from that stage. Here I'm speaking in South Africa to 3,000 people. And Sir Richard Branson was on the stage with me. Here I'm taking a group of people to Tahiti, which is where I was a missionary, a Christian missionary for a couple of years of my life. And so I got to speak the language. I speak Tahitian and I speak French. And I want to take my friends to Tahiti, so we go to Bora Bora. We stayed in this hotel. And here's a group of people that went on a cruise with me around the Tahiti Islands. 100 people. Each one of those people paid $20,000. 100 people to join with us on this year-long experience, what we call the Inner Circle. So we've had lots of profound, fun, exciting experiences speaking in China. This is the way they do it in China. They have these big posters like this. This is Hong Kong. This is Tokyo. Speaking to a group of Japanese folks. This is a group of 11,000 people that I organized in Japan, where Robert Kiyosaki and I spoke to this audience, just the two of us the entire day. Here's Robert talking about his success reading my book, how now his wife started off with reading my plan to buy 2 properties a year for 10 years. At the end of 10 years, you have 20 properties, and that'll set you up for life. His wife did it in 18 months. And now today, he has explained to the audience, they have almost 7,000 properties. So that was a great testimonial for me. But the point I'm trying to say is that these life-changing experiences, this is Kazakhstan. I didn't even know there was a Kazakhstan. But here are people listening and learning as I share my message. It was my birthday when I was there. So they took me in Kazakhstan to a traditional Kazakhstani birthday party. And I'm laying down in the middle of this group right here. This is in China. Here are my Chinese audiences. And here I'm actually wearing my Chinese shirt and speaking to this audience, being translated into Chinese. This is in Shenzhen, China, and the beautiful pagoda at the top of a hill. So I took my seminar students to the top of that pagoda and a long walk. And there we are way at the top of the pagoda. This is Italy, speaking to 3,000 people. And having a ball, enjoying it. I don't know if you resonate with this. What I'm trying to say is your life has a lot more to it than you think. There's a lot more people you could respond to. Ever been to Riga, Latvia? I went for my jog that morning through the square of Riga, Latvia, and then spoke to a small group, but got a nice speaking fee for doing so. How about Moscow? Speaking to hundreds and hundreds of people in Moscow. Brian Tracy and I were the speakers that day. And there's my PowerPoint presentation in Russian. So wherever you are in the world, where you're speaking French or Russian or Italian or Tahitian, this is St. Petersburg, and a powerful group, wonderful group of people in St. Petersburg. This is in Taiwan, and there's a big tower there, and you can take your picture at the top of the tower as if you're climbing the tower. So that was a lot of fun. This is Taiwan, and this is the group of people raising their hands to the question I'm asking. This is my home. We built this home and lived in this home for 8 years. This was our dream home. We have gotten a little more older now, so this home was almost too big for us, but it was something else. And let me take you inside. What I'm trying to tell you is that this is worth the trouble for you to finally figure out how to do this. This is the home we lived in. We built this home from scratch.
Hello, my name is Robert Allen, and I want to welcome you.
Translated into Japanese.
Come on inside and let's talk about how you can achieve financial freedom. Hi, I'm the best-selling author of some New York Times bestsellers you might have heard of before. Nothing Down, Creating Wealth, Multiple Streams of Income, The 1 Minute Millionaire, and many others. And in these books, I teach people how to achieve financial freedom, how to achieve their dreams. Now, this is my dream home here today. I don't know if it's a dream home like you want, but this is the way we live. And I want you to achieve the kind of ideal lifestyle that is perfect for you. So I want to teach you the principles and the techniques and the strategies. And come on inside and listen. Here's our living room where we invite guests, and you're a guest. So come on inside the house. When you have parties, you invite groups of people to come. This is where they come. And you can hear it's a very special space. It's a place where we can achieve our ideal lifestyle. It's the way we want to live. I want to show you how you achieve your ideal lifestyle. What works for you? Where do you want to live? What do you want your life to be? How much money do you want to earn? What kind of relationships do you want in your life? What kind of time freedom is important to you? And what about your health? You'll have great health, but you have to imagine that. You have to start with a dream, and then you make that dream happen. So let me teach you exactly how you're going to accomplish that. Now, in my lifetime, I've written 10 major books. Here they are right here. These books started off when I was a young man. Today, I'm in my late 60s. So it's been a lifetime of learning for me. I've learned so many lessons about what works and what doesn't work. And I want to share with you exactly how you can avoid the pitfalls that I've fallen into, the problems that I've had. And I also want to share with you the secrets, the shortcuts of how you can achieve what you really want to achieve in the fastest possible way. So we're going to be talking about the principles that I've learned in these very many books. I want to boil it down into what I believe are the essentials, the bottom line of wealth. And for me, it all started with this crazy book. This book is called Nothing Down, a proven program that shows you how to buy real estate with little or no money down. Now, that's exactly how I got started, with little or no money down. And I want to show you how you can do that as well.
So what you see there is my Japanese publisher wanted to create a video program. And so he said, let me come to your home and we're going to go throughout the various different rooms of your home and you can talk about the principles. We call it the Millionaire Bible. That's what they call it in Japan. But the bottom line was that was just the first 4 minutes of many, many hours of video. It's not available here in the United States. I can just show you a little snippet of it. But I'm very proud of that because it shows off where we ended up in our magnificent dream home. Now, our dream home is much more modest these days. It's about half the size of that one was. But the bottom line is, where do you want to live? What's your dream home? What does it look like? Where is it? How big is it? What do you want it to be like? I'm sharing with you what we created, but I'm asking you to think bigger, as I said in the video just saw. What do you want? When do you want it? Where do you want it? How much of it do you want? Who do you want it with? Why do you want it? And then finally, how are we going to get it? How are you going to do that? And it starts off with a dream. So my dream was to have that dream home, and you now saw. And now, because it was a magnificent home, we can invite people to our home rather than me going to the world came to me. And essentially, I'm saying, this may not be your dream. That may not be what you want to accomplish. But for us, it was fantastic. There's a group from Japan sitting in the theater, the 20-seat theater, inside my home as I taught on my stage and with my magnificent AV equipment, how they could learn more. And here's another group from Japan. This is a group from America, actually, with my daughter singing. She's a magnificent artist. Amae Love is her stage name, AMAE love.com. Go get her music, you'll love it. And here is another group. This is another group. You know, we've had many groups come to our home, and usually the fee to come is pretty steep. You may not want to do this. And lately, you know, because now we've moved out of our big home, we've finally marketed and moved on. But for 8 years, we brought people to that home and created magnificent trainings right in our own home, in my own downstairs office, away from the main rooms, so I wasn't bugging my wife. And these memories, magnificent. This is a group we're having right off of my office. We're having food served to our seminar students. So I'm just trying to give you a model for what you may want to go for. This is our home at night, all lit up. Here's a group of people coming. This is a Japanese audience. So here are all my books in Japanese and all the ones in English, sitting at my desk in my office, where we invited them to come sit through one of my seminars. And so the real question is, what does your home look like? When we sold our home, this is what the realtor created for us. This is what it looked like. Library, guest room, upper family room. So my question for you is, if you want to write a best-selling book, you need to create a platform to market your information. You need to create a way for people to come into your world. And the purpose of building a platform is to have a self-liquidating way of building a database of readers and fans. Self-liquidating, what does that mean? It means I spend money on advertising and I make profit when I spend money on a Facebook ad. I actually make money from that ad because of the funnel that's attached to it. So self-liquidating means I can spend as much as I want. You can spend $1,000 a day, $2,000 a day, and make $1,000 a day from the advertising that we are marketing. So your assignment after this class is to build your funnel, to create your funnel. Don't worry how perfect it is. Just throw some thoughts down. I'm trying to get your brilliant mind, your subconscious genius, to ruminate on how you could pull off your way of doing this. There's going to be your way of doing it. And here's our checklist. Now we've talked about the funnel. I've taught it. Now you need to go do it as your homework assignment. This was a lot of content in this session, session number 8. It's a big subject. Remember, I've summarized what I've learned in 40 years into this one short session. Don't expect you to learn it immediately, but I expect you to imagine a funnel, create a funnel, and then the next session we'll talk about how you build a database. See you there. Thank you. Good luck. God bless. And I'll see you on our next session. Bye-bye.